governing coalition, the EPRDF, says that it has decided to fully accept the ruling, which said that disputed territories on its border with Eritrea were part of Eritrea. Now, the failure to accept the ruling made over 16 years ago in April this year has led to continued tension between the two countries. Okay, so let's cross to Sophie Kenya, who's in our newsroom. And Sophie, just put this into context for us, please.
Well, Lucas, as you mentioned there, this is quite a significant move by Ethiopia, because for many years the country had never fully accepted the decision by the Boundaries Commission. Let me just take you back a little, give you a little history on where we were and where we are now. In 1998 to 2000, Ethiopia and Eritrea had a bitter battle over boundaries and territory. Many people were killed, thousands in fact. It is estimated that about 19,000 soldiers were killed who were Eritrean, and Ethiopia's soldiers died, about 70,000 of them, between 70 and 100,000 soldiers. It was a really bitter, bloody dispute. So the United Nations and other people came in to try and sort out what the problem was. And in 2000, a Boundaries Commission came up with a decision and offered, or rather allocated, some territories to Ethiopia. Both countries did sign that agreement, but Ethiopia really never fully accepted it. And in fact, one of the territories, called Badme, is occupied by Ethiopian military. So today, this is quite a significant development, and Ethiopia says they've done this because it is in an effort to make peace with Eritrea, as they have said. It is quite a significant move. We haven't heard from Eritrea, who have always maintained that the Boundaries Commission decision will always stand. So this is really huge. Breaking news, developing stories. Of course, we'll be following what will be happening in the coming few days. Back to you, Lukwesa.
Sophie, thank you very much for putting that into context for us. Okay, Awal Allo is an Ethiopian analyst and lecturer at Kiel University, and he joins me now. Thank you for joining us here. Has this come as a surprise, or were there indications that there was going to be movement on this particular issue?
There was indeed an indication when the new Prime Minister came into power in early April this year. He made it very clear that he wanted to reach out to the Eritrean people and wanted to see an end to this unnecessary conflict between the two countries. So given the gesture and the outreach that he has made on that very day, it was clear that something would change in terms of the relationship between Ethiopia and Eritrea. But it is, I think, important to put in context that the disputed territory, Badime, is simply a pretext for a broader social, political, rather complex relationship between Ethiopia and Eritrea. So Eritrea, for the last, since 2002, refused to engage in any negotiation with the Ethiopian government, holding that Ethiopia must relinquish the territory it is occupying. Ethiopia refused to do so. Now I think Ethiopia has accepted the ball in the Eritrea's court. But the problem is not simply the dispute over that territory. It is far more complex.
Do you believe that Ethiopia will honour what we're hearing today, or is it going to be a case of wanting further talks? I know that Eritrea have said that the ball is in Ethiopia's court and they would leave Ethiopian land. How do you see this developing?
I think this is a sincere and very genuine gesture by the Ethiopian Prime Minister and his government to the Eritrean people and to the Eritrean government. I think one of the reasons why I think this is genuine is not just because of effort that the Prime Minister is making towards Eritrea, but also the kind of transformational movement and a change that is happening within Ethiopia itself. Over the course of the last 65 days since he came to power, Ethiopia has changed and has changed radically. He has been doing some phenomenal work in terms of transforming the domestic political landscape. He has not merely been making promises and gestures of such very symbolic nature, but he was also taking some very concrete steps. So if he could deliver on those very difficult, complex promises on the ground in Ethiopia, I'm not saying everything has been delivered, but he has taken some very concrete steps. If he could do that, I see no reason why he can't deliver on this promise. If the Eritreans are willing to take the necessary steps that is important to take.
Alois, like you said, so many developments in the last few weeks and the last few hours, in fact, regarding Ethiopia. We've had the lifting of the state of emergency. What do you think is actually behind all this? I mean, 2 days ago, China said that they are going to be reviewing, being more cautious about their investments in the country. What is pushing all these developments?
Look, the situation, the kind of relationship that existed between the various groups in Ethiopia over the course of the last 25 years has been unsustainable. It was really, really bad. So since 2015, November 2015, Ethiopian people have been protesting throughout the country. What that did was bring about a radical kind of transformation within the ruling coalition itself, so that the kind of change that has happened around January, February of this year is almost as good as having a change of power from one political party to another. Although this is a change that has taken place within the same ruling coalition, it's almost as good as that when you take into account what has happened on the ground and also what's happened within the ruling party. So this prime minister and his government are a group of people who are very much wanted to drive change through, who very much embrace the demands of the people. And since they assumed power from day one, they have been driving this incredible changes through. And those of us who have been criticizing the Ethiopian state for a very long time were really surprised by the speed of change that has been.
Alo, thank you so much for that, speaking to us from Kiel University. If you want to keep updated on developments in Ethiopia, don't forget our Facebook page, BBC Africa, for all the latest.